Bad Boys 2 Michael Bay's best worst movie? Is it the most entertaining, so bad it's good mainstream action movie ever made? If the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting different results, then one could argue Michael Bay is downright certifiable. After all, who announces their directorial debut with a movie as bold and brash as Bad Boys and proceeds to repeat, nay, magnify these same screenwriting mistakes in the critically panned sequel? Then again, does it even matter? Despite being released 8 years after the original, Bad Boys 2 may have been eviscerated by critics, but proved to be bulletproof among the moviegoing masses. Instead of taking precise measures to tighten the story and bolster the witty banter between Miami Narcotics officers Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett, they doubled down on the explosive action set pieces and visceral chase sequences. The bet paid off so well that the So Bad It's Good sequel outgrossed the original and spawned a TV sequel 15 years later. With Bad Boys Ride or Die set to roll into theaters in June 2024, now is the perfect time to look back, assess the damage, and try to comprehend what the happened to this movie. In our previous Bad Boys video, emphasis was placed on the problematic screenplay that forced Bay to encourage lead actors Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to improvise most of their dialogue. Bay went into his directorial debut with a flimsy script that continues to rear its ugly head while filming in Miami. Bad Boys became such a massive commercial hit that the script issues became moot. The first film's success instantly led to script work on Bad Boys 2 in 1995, and suffered these same problems the original had, leading to countless scribes, extensive rewrites, and long-term production delays. Bad Boys 2 was released 8 years after the original, primarily due to the overcooked screenwriting process and amount of chefs in the kitchen, so to speak. Following Bad Boys' success, Columbia's Sony producers Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson announced plans for the sequel set to film in '96. Before Bay was hired to reprise his directorial duties, writer-director Tim Day was considered to make his feature film debut based on the draft that he wrote. However, top Columbia brass was unhappy with the script and tossed it in '97. Bruckheimer hired screenwriting duo Dick Clement and Ian LaFreniere, who came up with a movie called Bad Around the World, involving Mike and Marcus traveling to London to bring down a chemist with connections to a drug empire. At one point, music video directors Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris were asked to direct, but turned it down before making their feature debut, Little Miss Sunshine, in 2006. Once Dayton and Ferris passed, married screenwriters Cormac and Marianne Wiberly were recruited by Jerry Bruckheimer Films to create a new story. Bruckheimer liked their story angle, and the two retain a story-only credit on the finished film. By 2002, 6 years after Bad Boys 2 was originally planned to be filmed, Ron Shelton was hired to retool that script. In 2013, Shelton claimed he had never seen Bad Boys before getting the gig, and rented the movie on VHS at Blockbuster, fast-forwarding through the movie to get the gist. Shelton also admitted he's still never seen Bad Boys 2. Shelton is responsible for Dan Marino's cameo in the film and the plot involving Cuban drug smugglers and Russian mobsters operating in Miami. If that wasn't strange enough, permanent Midnight writer Jerry Stahl was hired by Sony to rewrite Shelton's script from a story based on the Wibberleys. Stahl was brought in for a week of work, but stayed on board for 16 weeks to iron out this script. 20 years after the movie's release, Stahl admitted that only a few lines of dialogue he wrote remained. At this point, it's easy to see how the essence of the story is becoming lost in translation by the various scribes inputting their unique ideas. The notion that Shelton and Stahl are given screenplay credit is bizarre on its own, but it's even stranger considering the years of script work done before Shelton and Stahl were even hired. If it seems like we're droning on about the script too much, that's precisely the point. For Bad Boys 2, Michael Bay brazenly ignored these issues that plagued the first film. He got away with it the first time because of the commercial success, but the irony is, despite the even more troubled script for Bad Boys 2, the movie was far more successful. After deeming Stahl's rewrite of Shelton's draft insufficient, Bruckheimer hired John Lee Hancock to rewrite the screenplay for Bad Boys 2 yet again. Bay pushed back on the choice, citing Hancock's lack of action movies in his filmography. Bruckheimer insisted Hancock was the right choice, telling Bay that John was a director himself and understood how to solve the problems filmmakers often face. Hancock was responsible for adding subplots to make the script less simplistic and providing Mike and Marcus with a secret to add conflict to their characters. Despite his contributions, Hancock left Bad Boys 2 after 3 weeks to work on The Alamo. Now here's a knee slapper that proves how absurd Bad Boys 2's screenwriting process actually was. Judd Apatow was hired to rewrite the Bad Boys 2 script with assistance from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Rogen and Goldberg were so broke at that time that Apatow gave them some money to write a few jokes for Smith and Lawrence, and a few of their gags actually made it into the script. Following Apatow's attempt, Rounders writers Brian Koppelman and David Levine worked on bolstering their characterizations for 1 week. Like a sick joke that won't end, several other writers contributed, including George Gallo, Tony Gilroy, Brian Helgeland, and many more. Again, the point here is to underscore how Bad Boys 2 became a popular so bad it's good action sequel due to its fundamental story problems. As George Clooney likes to say, you can make a bad movie from a good screenplay, but you cannot make a good movie from a bad screenplay. Strapped with a bloated budget of $130 million, principal photography on Bad Boys 2 began on July 22, 2002, and lasting until December. The 5-month shoot primarily occurred in Miami, with additional locations filmed in Puerto Rico and Amsterdam. Filming occurred at Bill Baggs' Haight, Florida State Park on Key Biscayne, where Too Fast, Too Furious was simultaneously filming on the other side.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Meanwhile, the mansion that gets destroyed in the movie was filmed at Birdhouse in Delray Beach, Florida, built for Coca-Cola heir Mark Bird. The producers found the house after the owner advertised an expensive home to be blown up for a movie production in Variety. Before Bay and his production team obtained the house, it was immaculate. When Bay was done filming, the swimming pool was the only thing left. Everything else was blown to bits. As for the Spanish Palms mortuary in the movie, the sequence was filmed at a milk factory for MacArthur Dairy. Many of the car chase sequences in Bad Boys 2 were filmed along Miami's MacArthur Causeway, with eastbound traffic shut down in August 2002 to accommodate photography. Seeking to capture raw, up-close action footage that's never been seen in a movie, they rigged cameras to multiple stunt cars and insisted on the stunt drivers deliberately crashing into the vehicles falling off the freeway. On the DVD commentary, Bay noted that the Ferrari used during the extended chase scene came away completely unscathed, only for Martin Lawrence to accidentally sideswipe a road barrier with that Ferrari during an outtake. 2 nearly identical Ferraris were used for the production. The one that is seen most is a Ferrari 557 Maranello. The one that performs most of the challenging stunts in the movie is Michael Bay's personally owned Ferrari 550 Maranello. Say what you will about Bay, but he did the same thing for Bad Boys when he used his personal Porsche to film the reshot opening sequence. Bay also makes a cameo in the film, driving the piece of shit car that Marcus tries to overtake before Mike urges him to steal a better vehicle. Speaking of Marcus, he shares scenes in Bad Boys 2 with his dog, Mason Rock Bay. The English Mastiff belonged to Michael Bay in real life, and Martin was extremely uncomfortable performing scenes with Mason due to the dog's large stature. Mason Rock Bay was named after Sean Connery's character, John Patrick Mason, in Michael Bay's The Rock. Sadly, Mason Rock Bay passed away in 2007 during the production of Transformers, which marked the dog's final cameo. Sticking with Transformers, star Megan Fox made her theatrical movie debut at age 15 in Bad Boys 2. Her character was initially set to appear in a bar wearing a bikini, high heels, and a cowboy hat. Given her age, her character drinking in a bar was deemed untoward. Yet somehow the scene was rewritten to have her perform an erotic dance on stage, an even more inappropriate gesture. Aside from using his pets and property for the production, part of Bay's shtick was to improvise on the spot and come up with new ideas on the day of filming. 3 days before filming for Bad Boys 2, Bay insisted the villainous drug lord Johnny Tapia speak with a Cuban accent. Bay approached Spanish actor Jordi Moya and gave him 3 days to prep. As a result, Cuban actor Yul Vasquez, who portrays Detective Reyes in the movie, taped Moya's lines in Spanish and English for him to study. This guy already has to deal with a script rewritten 486 times, but now he has to rework his dialect and annotation 3 days before cameras roll. That wasn't the only instance of Bay's radical movie-making methods. Get this. Dennis Green, the young actor who plays Reggie in the film, was instructed by Bay not to speak or make eye contact with Lawrence while filming scenes together. Green also admitted that Lawrence acted cruelly and mistreated him on the set. Bay conjured the entire charade to elicit a genuinely terrified response from Green when Marcus brandishes a gun. Green has appeared in both sequels, including the upcoming Bad Boys Ride or Die, indicating that no hard feelings truly exist between him, Bay, and Lawrence. As for Bad Boys 2, Michael Bay's first R-rated movie outperformed the original at the box office despite skewering by critics. The film grossed $273 million worldwide, nearly doubling Bad Boys' $141 million international haul. Despite taking 7 years to develop the screenplay, which many critics noted lacked the witty banter of the first movie, Bad Boys 2 struck a popular nerve among the masses. Although the movie grossed over $250 million, critics had a field day with eviscerating Bay's excessive pyrotechnics. Bad Boys 2 currently boasts a sad 23% Rotten Tomatoes score and a lowly 38 Metascore, indicating that stuffy, highfalutin critics do not know how to have a good time at the movie when attending an FX-driven popcorn spectacle. On the contrary, the film rocks a 78% audience score and a 6.6 IMDb rating, suggesting that general moviegoers do understand what makes a fun piece of entertainment that needn't rely on Oscar-caliber prestige. Bad Boys 2 holds up as a so bad it's good action sequel that excels thanks to the comedic chemistry between Smith and Lawrence, and Bay's indulgent, over-the-top action. The movie also has a legacy, responsible for spawning the TV spinoff LA's Finest, starring Gabrielle Union as Marcus Burnett's sister, Sydney. The movie also led to an atrocious video game released in 2003 titled Bad Boys: Miami Takedown. 16 years after the success of Bad Boys 2, a small screen spin-off called LA's Finest hit the streets. The show, like we said, revolves around Bad Boys 2 character Sid Burnett. In the movie, Sid works undercover for the DEA and is tasked with infiltrating the Russian mafia and laundering money. Union reprises her role as Sid in LA's Finest, co-starring with Jessica Alba, who portrays LAPD detective Nancy McKenna. The two work in the LAPD's robbery and homicide division. Fletcher, the computer hacker played by former NBA star John Sally in Bad Boys 2, also reprises his role in the show. LA's Finest lasted 2 seasons and 26 episodes before being canceled in 2020. Of course, 2020 also saw the release of Bad Boys for Life, the highest grossing sequel in the franchise's history, despite, or perhaps due to, Mike and Marcus being absent from the screen for 17 years. Interestingly, Bad Boys for Life was not directed by Michael Bay, but by the more talented filmmaking duo of Adil and Bilal. The Belgian filmmakers also directed the 4th entry in the franchise, Bad Boys Ride or Die, slated to hit theaters on June 2024. Until we drop another video about Bad Boys for Life, that's what the happened to Bad Boys 2. The film was meant to be filmed a year after the first came out, but was delayed by 7 painstaking years of script rewrites. Although the 7-year screenwriting process did not improve on the witty banter featured in the first film, Bad Boys 2 proved to be bulletproof when it bombarded the masses in the summer of 2003. As for Michael Bay, Bad Boys 2 marks the director's final time working on the franchise in any capacity. Following Ambulance in 2022, Bay is set to direct the long-gestating Robopocalypse as his next feature.